All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Black Desert. So, I wanted to make this special video because we are more or less like midway through the current season, and some people are pretty much done, and some people are still working on it. But this is more for a end of the season, and what should you start working on after your full Pen Tuvala? What should I be going for afterwards? So I'm going to give you some of my tips and what I did for like gearing and how to go about that after you're full or you're done with season. So I'm going to assume your gear looks very similar, if not full pen already. So this is my current character. If you haven't checked out the playthrough, you could watch me play through or do what I did from day one of the season all the way till we finished it. It took me about a few days. But for you, don't worry about it. Take as much time until the season ends as you need. But yeah, so I would assume your gear looks more or less like this. Granted, you have a pen ring extra and a pen belt. But I blew mine up. So ultimately, it's not really a big deal for me because at the end of the day, what matters is you're going to be going for the weapons and armors. I mean, the accessories are nice, don't get me wrong. But those will be replaced as well. So let's just say you're full pen, everything, armors and weapons. I would highly recommend priority on the gear pieces first, like the armors and weapons. So where do you go from there? And some of these tips I'm going to give you are going to be for after you can graduate, because some of the gear you have to transfer after the season ends or very near the end of it. So one thing, once graduation starts, which should be sometime near the end of August, that's when early graduation starts, and to do that you have to pretty much finish up the season pass, which ultimately shouldn't be too hard. So I'm on my main right now, but ultimately it's the same thing, it doesn't matter. So first of all, at the end when early graduation starts, you're gonna go to Fugar. And then there's going to be a tab. Well, there is a tab right here that says Season Special Gift. Now, if you are new to the game, you're probably going to be wondering what all of these are. And at the end of the season, you get to pick one item. And these are all accessories. And let me go over what order I think you should get first. So, as I've always said in my previous videos, when you're gearing up as a new player, you want the most stats you can get, obviously for the cheapest amount. But when it comes to the exchanges that you get one of at the end of every season, what you're going to want first is the necklace, because a pen capotia. So let me just go over all of these first so you can have an idea. So a pen capotia earring, and then a ring, and then a belt, and a necklace. So first of all, the necklace gives the most AP, so it's easy to pick item first. And then the next one I think you're going to pick is either the ring or the belt. I think you would go belt second, and then ring third, and then earring fourth. That is the AP order that it goes. And after that, so there are a few things you're going to be looking at. Once you... Where is it? Okay, so completed. Wait, is it here? One of these things. Oh my god, I wish they would just... Where is it? Oh my god. They still have these from all these years. Okay, anyway. So, as you get certain levels, you get these things. Like, from 58, 59, 60, 61. You get these as well. So these are the base versions that have slightly less stats. But that's okay. And then what you could use that as a temporary thing. So even if you didn't get full pen accessories by the end of the season, you probably are level 61 because you finished the season pass. Therefore, you have all of those extra accessories. So what you're going to want to do with that is, wait, hold on. I think I missed something. Where is it? Like, I'm honestly thinking that I missed something. There's like a try version, but I can't find it. My God. Okay, there it is. Here it is right here. Okay. So level 62, 63, and 64 are when you get the try versions. That's just an enhanced version. But from 58 to 61, you get the base versions, as we just saw. So accessories, you're okay for that right now. Now, what I wanted to go and do is look at the accessories on the market. Obviously, you get the one that gives the most AP. That just makes sense. But I wanted to give you an idea of why and how expensive if you chose something else is. So, an ogre ring. Let me show you, for example. 30 AP. That's all of these at pen level are the equivalent of a Tet real boss gear. So when you see 17, 30, 17, 13. Okay. So let's look at an ogre ring right now. How much would a Tet be? 9 billion silver. You're basically getting 9 billion silver for free just by picking this reward. And so that's a very huge thing. And if this is your first character, even a second character, like 10 billion, like to me, is not as bad as it was before. But to a new player, just grinding out 10 billion is still a lot. And then, let's see, we'll use the Bassi belt as the base. So this is 17, this one is 5 billion. It's a good starter belt before you do some big upgrades. And then the Crescent ring is the next one, the 17 stat one. That's about 6 billion, maybe less. And the Tet one would be the equivalent of a, wait, was that 15 or 17? 17 and 13. Okay, so I think this earring is a little different. Yeah, okay. So earring, wait, where is it? Accessories. Okay. So this necklace is a little bit different. I was looking at that for a second and I was like, wait, those stats don't match up. But you are looking at a Narc earring accessory. It's the same one. So roughly they're all about 5 billion. That's a lot of silver as a new player, just picking them one at a time. But as I said, you want to pick the one that gives you the most AP for your full build after season, right? So let's say you're 4 seasons in, you picked all the accessories, and then where do you go from here? You choose the Perilla Star, and then I guess the extra 100 stacks. By the time you're on to season like 6, 7, and 8, these 100 stacks will pretty much be meaningless to you. So yeah, mostly the important part is the accessories. Okay, so what do you do now that you have your accessories sorted? Let's just say you're going from this gear, from full Tuvala. What you're going to want to do is go to Jatina right here, right? And she can be found in pretty much every town next to the stable master, so it doesn't matter which one. And for 1 time per family, you can talk to her, and then you can exchange your Pen Tuvala. So it's once per family, so keep that in mind. You can exchange your boss gear and boss weapons at Pen, I believe. And then it'll look like something like this. This is what I exchanged mine into. Well, I have the helmet from another season. So we got the Griffin helmet. And after that, your gear is going to look something like this. Disregard the weapons. So you can exchange the glove for a Beg's glove or a Lieber's glove. I would say for your first character, you really want to go Beg's glove. Now, I understand like evasion is a thing, and you might be seeing other streamers, YouTubers say, oh, I have an evasion build. Now, evasion is good at very high levels. And so by the time you swap to evasion, you're like super geared at that point. And I think my understanding of evasion is like by the time you swap to it, you already know how to build your character and everything else. So evasion is good, but once again, like the level of gear you need is higher up than if you were to go DR and just upgrade a little bit later. Because every now and then they have these events where you can extract Caphras, and so like it's not as painful as it was before extracting and lighting money on fire. But anyway, for your first set, I would recommend going the red nose armor, the griffin helm, I would not recommend go the evasion route. I would recommend choosing the Uragon shoes and the Beg's glove. My main actually uses that. And evasion, this is just kind of like because I wanted to play Sork a little bit. So, and then after that, what you're gonna do is pick the Zarka, and then choose the Dandelion, and then choose the Kudum. So I believe your options for the offhand is a Kudum or Nuver, I think. But either way, Kudum will allow you to grind better, and the Nuver is for PvP. So generally in this game, PvE is your way to get money and then to move up into PvP. Now, that was a very vague thing. If you just want a PvP, and I know Arena of Solaire is coming out, and that's all equalized gear, you don't even need gear. Then yeah, so if that's what you want to do, and all you want to do is PvP, it doesn't really matter. I would still just get the Kudum, and then you grind, you save up enough silver, you can go enhance your own Nuver if you wanted to. But yeah, so by this point, your gear should look like actual boss gear, is a better way to phrase it, not the evasion route. Or I guess your gear should look like Uragon's, Beg's, Griffin, and Red Nose. Now, so you might be wondering, okay, so now I have actual boss gear, I have some decent accessories, where do I go from there? Now, you're gonna, like, let's say you have full Kaposha, let's say you're like level 62 or something, and you have basically the TED accessories that we looked at before, right? So nowadays, compared to years ago, what I would recommend doing is considering looking into a alchemy stone and light stones, because I do agree that accessories are also a good potential to upgrade. Let's say your end game goal would be to get like all accessories. Now what I have is a little bit different because these are like the more expensive versions that give better, but if you're just looking on getting stuff out of Tuvala, we'll go over that in a second. But if you want to see some extra upgrades, your Vells heart is something you would recommend checking out. I know it is kind of expensive, but it is going to be a lot of stats overall. And another thing you could do is grind for artifacts and light stones. So I've made videos of this before, like what kind of artifacts I use. I'll just go over it really quickly. So I'm a Dark Knight. I use magic damage. So this one would be magic AP. Then you want to look for accuracy. And if you're just looking to grind, PvE. So mostly I would just say for your average person, you just want to go straight AP. And I use this one for now because I can't get a strike crystal, which is crit damage instead of air attack. It'll be replaced when I can get it, but ultimately it just gives more damage, right? The accuracy route is it's just more for PvP. PvE XP is literally just for grinding, monster damage. And this is an experimental one for me. HP and full DR is survivability, tankiness. It's an experiment. But anyway, you mostly just want full damage, right? It'll help you grind faster. If you like PvPing, it'll help you do that a little bit better too. So artifacts are a new system that came out this year. A few months ago probably at this point. Like maybe, when I say a few, I mean a lot. So anyway, you're going to want to look into light stones and artifacts, and then an alchemy stone. Now, where do you go from an alchemy stone? You go here. And if you are a life skiller, what I would recommend doing is using spirit stones for a while until you get enough gear to be able to buy the higher tier ones. So here's what I would do. If you are a life skiller or you're thinking about getting into it, honestly, using spirit stones isn't that bad. And I remember in many videos ago, I was like, okay, so I'm using spirit stones and I want to upgrade to something better. Let's take a quick look at this one. So it has a gathering item drop rate plus 10%. That's the reason kind of why we wanted it. So as you guys can see, I am Guru 12 gathering, and gathering meant a lot to me, and it still does to this day. So anyway, life skillers, where do you go? I went from using spirit stones to this one, and the reason why is the gathering is up 3%. Will you really notice it? Not really, but 3% in the long run is actually some extra cash. You will definitely make back the silver spent on that one. And then it's honestly easier to get a Khan's Heart than it is to get a Resplendent. So yes, it is more expensive by like double, but if you do a lot of sailing, you can actually guarantee it with enough C coins. You could just straight up buy it. So ultimately, I'm gonna save that for another video, like mastery versus like the drop rate. So this one's 12% drop or gathering item drop rate, and this one's 16. Obviously, this one is harder to get, but this one also gives mastery, and mastery for life skills means a lot. And I'll save that for another video. But anyway, Khan's Heart, a lot easier to get than a Resplendent, so just trust me on that one. Protection stones. Honestly, I think protection stones are something you get as a very end game item, because protection stones are something that you kind of already have to have gear. And let's say someone is fresh out of seasons and you get a protection stone, let's say, I don't know, whatever the highest one you can buy is. It doesn't really matter, because someone with, like, I don't know, my gear will probably still beat you even if you're using full defensive. And it's just like you already have to be geared to get a protection stone and make it effective. So destruction is where we're looking at right now. So here's how I went. So of course, if you're new to it, spirit stones just all the way, get it, it's fine. And then we're going up to things now that we can actually get. So I used this sharp spirit stone for a while. A few years ago, I used this for about like a year, because that one was the highest. Vells Heart wasn't even out at the time. And then, so I just kept using this one until Vells Heart came out. And then even after Vells Heart came out, I waited about, I don't know, a good like 6 months, because it wasn't this expensive. I'm gonna be honest, this is like the highest I've ever seen a Vells Heart in my life. It's funny, you can actually watch my videos, and I got a Vells Heart at 6 billion silver. This was years ago, and now look at how much it is right now. So it is something you want to think about. This will be one of your end game items. I know if you're watching some streamers, they're all going for like Splendids. Splendids are like, you are in the 1% of geared players if you're going for that. So don't worry about that for now. It's fine. It's fine to use a sharp spirit stone. The reason why Resplendents are always sold out is because the people at the 1% are using these to try to make a Splendid, and it's kind of like enhancing, but dumb expensive, and it's probably not happening. So yeah, that's the reason why they're sold out. It's not because they're actually better than Vells Heart or it's like value. It's not. It's because people who are in the very end game are trying to make a Splendid, and yeah. So realistically, it's easier to get a Vells Heart. Yes, it is expensive. Just go to Vel every week and pray you get one, or save up 16 billion. But once again, this goes back to my idea of get the most AP and DP for the least amount of money. So now that I look at the Vells heart price, I think it might be a little bit later on the scale. So we talked about weapons, right? And then let's say you're using full whatever season rewards, right? Which is the equivalent of a tet, okay? So now let's say instead of a Vells heart that gives 3 AP, you have, let's just say you have 15 billion silver. Where do you go from there? Okay. So we're gonna look into the accessories. We don't worry about the necklace now because the ogre is probably gonna be your best in slot up until you're thinking of upgrading into a pen ogre. And then this one is a little bit different because you're gonna have a Tet Basilisk belt equivalent 17 AP. And I think this one is fine to hold on to for now because your only other upgrades are going to either be a Voltara's belt for higher survivability or a Tungrad belt, which I don't really think is a good option. The only reason people use Tungrad belts is if they're going for the full like Black Spirit Rage builds, which I don't know. Or if you're going for pen, it does give you like 1 extra AP at pen level. And the reason why, like, okay, so let me show you. 95 billion right now. Well, 96 billion for that 1 AP, right? And we have a Tet Voltara at pen at 68 billion. You're paying almost 30 extra billion for that 1 AP. Is it worth it? Absolutely not. And the reason why you're paying for it is for that Black Spirit Rage and 1 AP. So that 1 AP better push you up into a new bracket to be worth it. So when you're thinking about belts, if you have the equivalent of a Tet Bassi, it's fine. And yeah, just hold on to that. So you're going to be choosing rings, and honestly, Tungrad rings are going to be your late game option. But what you're going to want to do is you already have 1 Tet Crescent ring because you got it from the reward. And now your next upgrade would probably be another one because it's 6 billion. So again, we have 20 billion silver. Let's just say we have 20 billion. You have that saved up and you're trying to get some extra upgrades. This would be the next like value item towards more AP. And after that, is Eye of the Ruins good? I think it is good, but it's also one of those things for like the more experienced players. And like you're buying this because it has extra HP on it, which makes you tankier in a way. Not like DR tankier, but just more health pool. But it's one of those things that you really have to think about in prices for all of this. This one is the AP option, but for later game. So then next we're going to be looking at earrings. Now this one is a very tricky spot because distortion earrings are very solid. However, the price of getting a Tet is very expensive. So your options as a newer player are either Tungrad, Narc, or honestly, that's it. So what I would recommend doing in this case, let's say you already have, so the season reward gives you the equivalent of a Tet Narc. What you should be doing is going to your journal and doing the pen boss and accessories. So these are guaranteed, but it's like doing 2 to 3 months worth of dailies for it. So it is a slow grind. And you know what I chose for mine? It's on my Sork right here. I chose the Pen Narc earring. So what you could get is a Pen Tungrad earring, or a Pen Narc, or a Pen Crescent. I chose the Narc earring because the the earring slots are harder to get, and like the Tungrad is not really worth it. And let's say you already have a Tet Kaposha, right? Or like you have the Pen Kaposha, which is the equivalent of a Tet or Tet Crescent, and then you bought another Tet Crescent for 5 to 6 billion. So that's fine. Now let's say your other accessories are just the Tets that or Pen Capoches, that's fine. And you're thinking about what you want to do. So a Narc earring, and then your others, what is it? Season Capocha earring. Dude, it has the same name, but I just keep forgetting what it's called. So do the Pen Accessory quest, and then I would recommend going the Narc earring route, just because survivability along with everything is also good. However, when you do that quest, it allows you to exchange your item. Let's say you chose the Narc earring, but you decide you don't want it, and you want the ring instead. You could do that. It's limited, but you can still do it. And then after that, you could start pushing Pen Boss gear. And yeah, so what you would do is, if you don't know how to do it, you go here, and then the tab that says guaranteed pen stuff, start doing these. It'll teach you how. I personally haven't done it yet, because by the time the system came out, I was already full pen. So I really have no need to do it. And if I want to play another character, realistically, I'm just going to tag my main gear over to another one. So anyway, but for you guys, I would recommend starting to look into these Pen Accessory guarantee or pen gear guides guaranteed. So that, in theory, is the idea of how to progress your character, and those are my opinions. And then after, or like while you're going for your gear, there are these things called Caphras stones. Even to this day, I am still going for it. Everyone's still going for it. New players, I would say you, by this point, after, if you followed all the steps that I recommended, you are at the point where Caphras stones is worth something. And so there are Google Sheets, and, you know, just Google it, figure out how to build. So let me show you something as an example. Well, I only have 2 pieces. Let's use this one. So you're probably wondering, okay, so how do I figure out how many Caphras stones I need, or what do I need? So keep in mind, my gear is currently at Caphras 10. So you put your pen gear in, or let's say yours is at 10. You're gonna need, it'll tell you how many Caphras stones you need, and then you just fill it out. I would recommend doing them evenly. So let's say you have all 4 Tet boss gears, right? You're going to want to put them in like level 1 into your gloves, level 1 into your shoes, level 1 into your helmet, then level 1 into your chest, then level 2 into each of them. Don't just go like level 4 all in one, because that's going to cost more for, well, like, ultimately at the end of the day, it's going to cost the same amount, but you're going to get the incremental gains evenly if you do them spread out. And let's say, for example, from level 1 to 2 costs 200 Caphras stones, and then level 2 to 3 costs 400 Caphras stones. So you'd be doing like 200, 200, 200, 200, right? And then if you did it like this, like individually, it'd be like 200, 400, 600, 800. It doesn't go like that, by the way, but you would be paying more for less instead of doing it evenly, where you would get the stats more balanced over time instead of hard pushing it. If that made any sense, just do it evenly. It's value progression, stats go up like that, not like hard up. So anyway, yeah, that's what you're gonna want to do with Caphras stones. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't remember. I think we talked about how to turn Tuvala gear into boss gear. Priorities on accessories, how to upgrade your accessories. Go for light stones, how to do, or artifacts and light stones. My ideas and opinions on the Alchemy stone. Now that I look at the price for Alchemy stone, this might be one of your last options now that I think of it, because I never thought that a Vells heart would be like 17 billion silver, because Vell has been around for quite a while. And to this day, fun fact, I have never once gotten a Vells heart as a drop from Vell. I had to buy mine. And I still go to Vell every Oh, not every Saturday, or it's not every Sunday, but like whenever I can. And so where should you be grinding after that? So let's say you are full tet. You should probably be around, let's say you got all the things I recommended, right? You should roughly be around like 269 AP, a little under 275, somewhere in that range. So where do you go grind? You're going to be grinding on Elvia, and you're going to want to look into spots like Brigati Den, Swamp Nagas. Just realistically, you look at the recommended AP, and this is, I know people say that the recommended AP is kind of stupid. I think it's fine, because when they recommend the AP, it's how you can do it efficiently. Like, yeah, I could go into an orc camp at 230 AP. I would be killing so slow that it's not worth grinding there. But yes, you can technically kill it at lower AP. But the recommended is something that you could do efficiently, which is the very important spot. So as you are grinding in Elvia spots, the reason why you're doing it is because there's going to be upgrades that you can put on your accessories called various cups of whatever. And so, like, for example, the cup of arid moonlight, it'll go on your it'll go on your necklace spot, and then it'll give you the extra 150 HP, which is nice. And then if you grind a combination of other areas, here, let me just show you. For example, you get these things, shards, from grinding various spots, and it'll tell you the usages of it. So you're gonna want to get X amount of things for whatever you're getting. Yes, it is a grind, but it is like, the money at Elvia is decent. Some, obviously, like, you may be wondering, oh, people are making 2 billion silver an hour. Realistically, if you're making billions of silver an hour, you're like beyond geared. And so don't worry about, like, when you see streamers and other creators say, oh, this spot is 1 billion silver an hour, and then you see their gear and they're like full pen, that's why they're making that much money an hour. So for your average person, it's decent money. Just go with that. So then you're going to want to get the cups on your accessory, and then the way you know is because they have a color on it, yellow or blue or something like that. Blue is the HP route, which is more survivability. Yellow is more damage. Ultimately, personal preference. I think, I don't know. It really depends what you want to do. Like, if you're PvPing, survivability is kind of nice. At a certain level, like, AP just, yeah, at a certain level of gear, you want more survivability than damage. But I don't know. Ultimately, it just depends on your playstyle. But with that said, I think that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. I might have forgotten something, but I think that's the general idea of how I would progress through the game as a newer player, or you're someone who's just finishing the season for the first time. You have no idea where to go after that. You're just like, okay, season's over. Now how do I go? That is really what I would recommend. Every time a season starts, do that, and then get another accessory. So once again, to recap, necklace first, 30 AP is a lot. Then belt, you'll be done with that slot for quite a while. Slot number 3, or season number 3, Kaposha ring, because this one is more AP than 13. So does it matter? And once again, does it matter if you get the ring or the belt first? No, but you need 2 rings, and the belt slot, just being done with a slot over here, it feels nice. So yeah, that's what I would go. I would always go belt second, and then whatever. So yeah, if you have any other questions on what to do, feel free to ask in the comments. Join the Discord, everything. If you're new, also subscribe to the channel. I try to do daily videos, and I'm trying to focus more into like guide videos now. because I know a lot of people are joining the game, and this game is definitely not a game that like you learn overnight. It's something that when I first started, there weren't any guides. I had to like figure it all out. A lot of stuff is getting streamlined nowadays and making it easier by like they're changing tooltips and be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. How do I use this? But yeah, I know this game has a lot of information, and I'm happy to help newer players get into it and all that stuff. So feel free to ask if you need any help or join the Discord, and we have a videos channel for it. Yeah, with that said, thanks so much for all the support. You guys are awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a quick like, subscribe, all the other stuff, and I will see you tomorrow.